Good day everyone, I am Lloyd Evangelista again, and for today's video, I will discuss to you the rules of Ultimate Series of 2021-2024. And now for the rule number 1, which is Spirit of Game. So dito sa Spirit of Game, lahat ng players is alam dapat nila yung rules. For example, Ultimate is not a non-contact. So sa paglalaro ng Ultimate Fressbie, hindi ito siya contact yung nagdidikitan. Malayo ito siya, malayo ang buhatan ng mga players. And it is a self-officiated sport. At syempre lahat ng players ay na-administered nila yung rules. So sa ganitong laro, pinagtitiwalaan na dapat walang sino mang players na mag-break ng rule na ito. Mayroon silang fair-minded and objectives o yung tinatawag nilang sports. Ganun. Syempre, mapagkakatiwalaan. At kung ano man yung kanilang mga viewpoint, may explain nila ito ng maayos. At halimbawa naman kapag merong reklamo yung kanilang opponents, binibigyan nila ito ng chance para magsalita. At syempre lahat ng players hindi dapat magsasalita ng mga bad words at yung tinatawag na body language. So meron din tayong mga examples ng isang good spirit na tinatawag. One example dyan is yung halimbawa hindi siya agree doon sa tinawag ng referee. So magre-react siya ng kalma lang, reacting calmly, kasi yan ay nagpapakita ng good spirit. Another one example ng good spirit is pinapakilala mo yung sarili mo sa kalaban mo. Besides, merong mga actions na nagkakos ng violations sa spirit of the game na kailangang iwasan ng mga players. So ano yun? Yung paglalaro ng dangerous and aggressive behavior. So yun, dapat iwasan yun. Yung sinasadya mong i-foul yung kalaban mo, iniiwasan din yun kasi that is a violation for a spirit of the game. At ito pa, yung halimbawa yung nakascore kayo, yung kasama mo, tapos nag-celebrate kayo ng yung nagpapakita ng disrespectful, kumaga kawalang galang. So iwasan din yun. So sa team, sila din yung mga guardians ng spirit of game. Sila yung may responsibility na turuan nila yung kanilang players about the rules of the good spirit. At syempre, dinidisiplina nila yung kanilang teammates yung nagpapakita ng poor spirit. Kumaga mali, halos mali yung pinapakita niya. So, yung isang team yung nagdidisiplina. So, dun sa mga player na may experience na, yung marami ng experience, pwede siyang mag-supervise ng laro dun sa mga beginners, yung mga baguhan na naglalaro. Pwede siyang mag-supervise dun. At ito pa, halimbawa yung teammate na hindi niya tinanggap yung kanyang pagkakamali. So, as a teammate, ikaw na yung papayuhan mo yung ka-teammate mo na iiwasan niya na yun. That is, nagpapakita yan ng poor spirit sa laro. Players and captains are solely responsible for making and resolving all calls. So, yan yung kanilang responsibilidad. That is for the rule number 1, which is spirit of game. Now, let's talk about the rule number 2, playing field. So, yung playing field ng Ultimate Fressbie is rectangular area. Mayroong dimensions and zones. So, meron itong 2 sidelines along the length and 2 end lines along the width. So, yung sukat ng playing field is 100 meters yung length and 37 meters yung width. Now, let's proceed to rule number 3, equipment. Any flying disc acceptable to both captains may be used. And for their equipment, syempre, mayroon silang uniform na nagre-representa ng kanilang team. Bawal sa kanila yung magsusuot ng mga any items, kahit anong suotin nilang items na maaaring magkukos ng hazard. Bawal yun. That is not part of the equipment. Number 4, point, goal, and game. So yung laro, it is consist of number of points. So paramihan nito siya ng puntos. Hindi ito bumabase sa time. 15 goals yung required niya na kung sino yung makauna sa 15 goals, yun ang panalo. So, yung larong Fressbie, hati yan sa dalawang period, which is called halves. So, sa halftime, dapat makaabot sila ng 8 goals. And after 8 goals, continue na for the whole game. And dapat makaabot sila ng 15 goals. Kung sino yung unang makaabot ng 15 goals, automatically sila yung panalo. And halimbawa naman kapag naabot na ng isang team yung 15 goals pero hindi pa natapos yung game, yung halftime, mag-change sila naman yung magde-defense. Number 5, teams. Sa larong Fressbie, Ultimate Fressbie, meron lamang 7 players each team. Minimum of 5 players in field during each point. So, each team is meron dapat silang team captain na magre-represent ng kanilang team. So, halimbawa kapag naka-goal yung isang team, kung gusto nilang mag-sub, unlimited yun. Walang limit yung pag-sub after the goal. Rule number 6, starting a game. So, bago magsisimula yung laro, yung representative ng bawat team, aalamin nila kung sino yung first team na pipili na kung sino yung magde-defend o kung sino yung mag-offend. Kung sino yung unang mag-throw or kung sino yung unang mag-defend. So, pag simula ng second half, kung sino yung nag-defend, mag-switch naman. Sila naman yung mag-throw. Number 7, the pool. Pagkatapos ng laro, after halftime or after the score, play commences with a throw by the defense. Yun ang tinatawag na pool. So, magagawa lamang yung pool pagkatapos ng both teams na mag-signal their readiness by having the puller and the player on offense ay tataas ng kanyang kamay sa taas ng kanyang ulo. So, pagkatapos mag-signal ng readiness, lahat ng defensive player ay tatayo ng isang paa lamang on their defending goal line na hindi pumapalit ng location relative to one another hanggat hindi pa na-release yung pool. Walang sino mang defensive team ang mag-touch ng disc pagkatapos ng pull until a member of the offensive team contacts the disc o yung disc is na hits to the ground. So kapag yung offensive player during inbounds or outbounds na-touch niya yung disc before ito tumama sa ground at yung offensive team ay nabigo na established position, that is turnover o yung tinatawag na drop pull. Rule number 8, which is state of play. Kapag yung play is dead, posibleng walang turnover. Bakit? Anong dahilan? After the start of a point until the pull is released. Ano pa? Kapag yung disc is dinala into pivot location after the pull or a turnover until a pivot point is established. Another one example kung bakit posibleng walang turnover kapag yung play is dead is that yung isang player or yung players ay pwede siyang mag-move during dead play unless specified otherwise. Play that is not a dead, of course, is alive. So hindi pwedeng ilipat ng thrower yung disc into another position during dead play to another player. Hindi pwede yun. So any player pwedeng mag-stop ng disc. For example, ito ay rolling pagkatapos itong ma-hit sa ground. With any player can stop. Number 9, stall count. Ano nga ba itong stall count? The markers administers a stall count to a thrower sa pamamagitan ng pag-announce ng stalling, then counting from 1 to 10. Kailan ba magsisimulang mag-stall count yung isang marker? Kapag yung play is live or until a pivot is established after a turnover. And now let's proceed to rule number 10, which is the check. Kahit yung laro is tumigil during a point for foul or violation or turnovers, contested goal, or merong discussion na nangyayari, yung laro is mag-restart quickly as possible with a check. Madidelay lamang yung check kapag merong discussion for a call. Kailan mangyayari na yung player is pupunta sa kanyang position after a call? Kapag yung laro ay tumigil before pass is thrown. Lahat ng players ay babalik kung saan silang location. As well as kapag natapon na ng thrower yung disc or the time of the call. Ano pa? Kapag yung laro ay tumigil after a pass is thrown. So anong mangyayari kapag after a pass is thrown? Kapag yung disc is bumalik sa thrower, yung nagtapon, bumalik sa kanya, lahat ng players ay dapat babalik sa kanyang dating location kapag na-release na ng thrower yung disc. So ano pa yung reason kung bakit yung isang player or yung players ay nakaposisyon after a call? Dapat lahat ng players ay nandun lang sa kanilang location until yung disc is checked in. At paano naman i-restart yung laro with that check? Pag yung thrower ay mayroong disc, anong mangyayari? Kapag merong defender na halos maabot niya na yung disc sa thrower, yung defender must touch the disc. At kung wala namang defender, thrower must touch the disc to the ground at tatawaging disc in. Ano pang reason kung paano i-restart yung laro with a check? Kapag yung disc ay nasa ground, kung sino yung defender na malapit sa disc, siya yung tatawag na disc in. Next is rule number 11, out of bounds. Ano naman ang itong out of bounds sa rules ng Ultimate? Yung pinaglalaroan in playing field, yun ang tinatawag na inbounds. At yung perimeter lines na not part of the playing field, yun naman ang tinatawag na outbounds. Lahat ng hindi players na makikita mo outside the playing field, dun sila makikita sa out of bounds area. So yung this is magiging outbound siya kapag ito ay na-catch ng receiver pero doon siya sa out of bounds area. Now let's proceed to rule number 12, which is the receiver and positioning. So mangyayari lamang yung catch when a player has a non-spinning disc. Yung disc is na-trap between two body parts. A catch can enable a player to establish the position of the disc. So kapag yung player is nabigo siyang i-maintain yung kanyang pag-catch due to subsequent ground contact related to the catch, position is deemed to have not occurred. So pagkatapos ng player na yun na gumawa ng position, siya ay magiging thrower na. And halimbawa naman yung both offensive and defensive players, na-catch nila yung disc simultaneously, the offense retains position. And kung sino naman yung player na nakaposisyon na, ay hindi na pwedeng umalis pa sa kanyang posisyon and must not be contacted by an opposing player. So lahat ng players ay pwede silang mag-occupy na kahit saan nila gustong posisyon, basta wag lang dun sa kalaban. Another one is, lahat ng players dapat iniiwasan nilang mag-contact with other players. And there is no situation kung saan yung isang player may justify initiating contact. So halimbawa kapag yung kabilang team is hindi sila nagpapakita ng magandang laro, kumbaga illegal yung sa kanila. At yung sa isang team naman is legal yung pinapakita nila, dapat i-adjust ng kabilang team yung kanilang movements para maiwasan yung initiating contact. Walang mag-aaway. At kapag nangyari yun, the result of play still stands. Lahat ng players ay hindi dapat gagamit ng kanilang paa o yung kanilang kamay to obstruct the movements ng kanilang mga kalaban. Now let's proceed to rule number 13, which is turnovers. So kailan mangyayari na yung position ng disc from one team ay lumipat to another team? Kailan mangyayari yun? Kapag yung disc ay tumama sa ground pero hindi pa nakaposisyon yung offensive player. So turnover dun. At halimbawa naman kapag nakita ng isang player na dapat turnover talaga yun, tapos hindi pumayag yung kabilang team kasi hindi daw turnover, so magkakaroon ng discussion. So yung laro is temporarily stop. Ihinto mo na yung laro. And halimbawa kapag natapos na yung discussion at hindi pa rin agree yung isang player, yung decision para doon is kung sino yung last na tumapon ay mananatiling siya yung thrower. So babalik doon ang disc. Another one, kailan din mangyayari yung turnovers? Matapos tawagin yung stall out. So kailan ba mangyayari yung stall out? And now let's proceed to rule number 14, which is scoring. So paano ba mag-score sa Ultimate? So magkakaroon ng score yung goal kapag yung inbounds player ay na-catch niya yung legal pass. Another one is the time at which a goal is deemed to have been scored is when a player establish position. Rule number 15, calling fouls, infractions, and violation. So bakit ba magiging foul yung breach of the rules na naging sanhi ng non-minor contact between two or more opposing players? Bakit siya nagiging foul? So kapag sinadya ng player na i-foul yung kanyang kalaban intentionally, and that is still a breach of the rules. Pero ito ay tinatawag na violation, not a foul. And take note, every other breach of the rules is a violation. So kung sino lang yung player na makakatanggap ng foul, siya lang yung matatawagan na foul. Hindi naman pwede na yung isang player matatawagan ng foul, ikasali na yung kasama niya. Sa larong Ultimate, only the thrower lamang yung makakatanggap ng infraction. So ano ba yung infraction? Ito ay isang breach of the rules regarding marking or travel breach. yan ay isang infraction. And infractions do not stop play. Rule number 16, continuation after a call. So kahit nangyari na yung foul or violation, or kahit tapos na, or kahit yung player ay tinangka niyang itigil yung laro sa kahit anong paraan, yung laro ay ititigil agad-agad and posibleng walang turnover. Another one example is kapag yung foul or violation ay tinawag against doon sa thrower at yung thrower ay tinangka niyang magpasa. Or pwede rin na kapag yung foul or violations ay tinawag doon sa thrower during the act of throwing. O kapag yung disc is in the air pa lang. So with that, continuation pa rin yun after a call. So kahit ilang calls pa yung mangyayari, kapag yung mga players ay involved doon sa both teams agree na yung event o yung tawag or call is hindi makaka-apekto sa outcome ng laro, and the play still stands. So continue pa rin. Rule number 17, fouls. Kailan naman mangyayari yung fouls? Kapag both players ay naglalaro through dangerous play. Yung paglalaro nila merong halong di maganda, yung nananadya silang manakit, and that is called dangerous play. So magkakaroon ka ng foul niyan. Another one is receiving fouls. So kailan naman nangyayari itong receiving fouls? Kapag yung isang player is halimbawa i-catch niya yung disc, tapos may tumangkang kunin yung disc niya, tapos tinulak niya, and then ikaw yung mapafoul. Receiving foul yung tawag doon. Another one is strip fouls. Ano tong strip fouls? Mangyayari lamang ito kapag yung kalaban ng isang player yung nagdadala ng disc, tapos finaul siya ng opponent niya, tapos nalaglag yung disc sa ground, wala yung position ng disc, and that is called strip foul. Another one is called blocking fouls. Kailan naman nangyayari itong blocking fouls? Nangyayari itong blocking fouls kapag halimbawa yung isang player is ikakatch niya na yung disc pero hinarangan siya ng opponent niya. And that is called blocking fouls. At yung pagharang niya is nagsanhi ng natumba yung magsasalo sana. So that is called blocking fouls. Next is force out fouls. Nangyayari itong force out fouls kapag yung receiver is in the process of establishing position of the disc at ito ay finauled ng defensive player before establishing position, and the contact caused the receiver. So ano yun? To become out of bounds instead of in bounds, or to catch the disc in the central zone instead of their attacking end zone. Another one is defensive throwing or marking fouls. Kailan naman ito nangyayari? Nangyayari ito kapag yung defensive player is illegal yung kanyang position at merong contact between doon sa defensive player na illegal yung kanyang position at doon sa thrower. Next is offensive throwing or thrower fouls. Ano naman ito? So nangyayari lamang ito kapag yung offensive player o yung thrower ay meron siyang contact sa defensive player. Kumbaga, sinadya niyang i-contact yung defensive player na nandun sa legal position. So matatawagan siya ng offensive throwing fouls or thrower fouls. Another one is indirect fouls. Kailan naman nangyayari itong indirect fouls? Nangyayari ito kapag merong non-minor contact between dun sa receiver at sa defensive player that does not directly affect an attempt to make a play on the disc. Next is offsetting fouls. Kailan naman ito nangyayari? Nangyayari ito kapag inaccept ng both offensive players or defensive players yung foul nila, yung disc ay pupunta dun sa last na nag-throw ng disc. Rule number 18, infractions and violations. One example for that is marking infractions. Ano nga ba itong marking infractions at kailan ito nangyayari? So ito ay binubuo ng fast count at yung marker ay magkukontinue sa pag-stall count illegally, and that is a marking infractions. And another one is hindi niya inumpisahan or hindi niya ni-restart yung kanyang stall count with stalling, o di kaya nag-count nga siya pero less than 1 second interval. Ano pa bukod sa fast count? Yung tinatawag na straddle. Yung line between dun sa defensive player, yung line between dun sa paa ng defensive player is less than 1 diameter away from the torso of the thrower. However, if this situation caused solely by movement, then it is not an infraction. Now, kung merong marking infractions, meron ding travel infractions. So yung thrower ay pwede siya mag-attempt to pass anytime as long as nandun sila sa inbound playing field. Now let's proceed to rule number 19, which is safety stoppages. Ano naman itong safety stoppages? So it involves injury stoppage. Itong injury stoppage or injury ay matatawag lamang, of course, dun sa na-injured na player. At halimbawa naman kapag na-injury yung player, pero hindi ito gawa ng kanyang kalaban, pipili siya kung magtatawag ba siya ng substitute o tatawag yung kanyang team ng timeout. Now, kapag ito naman ay gawa ng kanyang kalaban, pipili din siya kung magpapasab ba siya or mananatili siya sa laro. Another one is technical stoppage. Ano naman itong technical stoppage? Kapag merong isang player na na-injury ng sobra talaga yung pagdurugo, doon na itatawag yung technical stoppage o tinatawag na technical or stop. At yung laro is titigil agad-agad. Now let's proceed to rule number 20, which is timeouts. So kung sino yung player na tatawag ng timeout, magpo-form siya ng T sa pamamagitan ng kanyang kamay. T. Kasi ibig sabihin nun, timeout. Now, kapag yung thrower is tumawag ng timeouts, habang yung laro is live pa, hindi siya dead ball, kumbaga. Pero yung kanilang team is wala ng timeout. Automatically, yung marker mag-a-add ng 2 seconds to the stall count. They would have restarted play on before restarting play with a check. And that's all for the rules of Ultimate and Fressbie. Once again, I am Lloyd Evangelista and thank you for watching and listening.